Fred Vasseur has finally spoken, and what he revealed about the Canadian Grand Prix, particularly the radio chaos involving Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc, is nothing short of explosive. His words didn't just confirm what fans and journalists had been speculating, they exposed the truth behind Ferrari's ongoing struggles in the 2025 season. For the first time, Ferrari's team boss admitted to major internal breakdowns in communication, strategy, and decision-making, confirming that the tension we all sensed wasn't just media drama. It was real, deep-rooted, and dangerously close to spiraling out of control. The chaos started early in the weekend. Charles Leclerc's crash during free practice 1 left the team with only one car to collect data. In a weekend where Ferrari needed everything to go right to close the gap to Red Bull and McLaren, this was a critical blow. With Leclerc out of action, Lewis Hamilton was left to carry the data-gathering duties alone, which limited Ferrari's ability to adjust setup or optimize strategies. This was a significant setback for any top team, especially one already under pressure to deliver results. Qualifying didn't help either. In Q3, Leclerc was on a strong lap. He posted the fastest time in the first sector and was looking set for a potential front-row start. But just when things were falling into place, he suddenly backed off. The reason he had hit traffic and Ferrari hadn't warned him. That's a basic mistake, something that teams with Ferrari's experience should never miss. This lack of awareness cost Leclerc valuable track position and once again set a negative tone for what was supposed to be a comeback weekend. Then came race day, and with it, the real disaster. Hamilton started the race with hopes of making progress. Instead, he was met with a car that didn't respond the way it should. Midway through the race, his engineer Riccardo Adami delivered a concerning message. "We do see a loss of downforce in the car, or damage, perhaps 20 points missing." Hamilton, clearly uncomfortable with how the car was behaving, asked, "Is that rear downforce because the rear is loose?" Adami responded with, "It's quite balanced." That answer was baffling. Hamilton was reporting instability at the rear, inconsistent braking, and poor traction, and yet the pit wall told him that everything seemed fine. This was the first clear sign that the driver and the engineers were not on the same page. What followed were radio messages that reflected not just frustration but complete disorientation. Hamilton, known for his composure and clarity over the radio, began questioning the team more aggressively. "Why is this car so slow?" he asked. "Out of power, out of pace, boys." That wasn't a simple complaint, it was a cry for answers. When he was told that he was 25 seconds behind the leader, his reply was filled with disbelief. "Where have I lost 25 seconds? This wasn't just about a lack of pace, it was about a lack of information, a lack of control, and a growing sense that Hamilton was being left in the dark about what was happening to his car. For a driver who thrives on communication and trust, this was alarming. And it wasn't just Hamilton feeling the strain. Charles Leclerc's race was marred by strategic missteps. At one point, when told to switch to Plan B, he replied curtly, "I think Plan C." That kind of back and forth may sound minor, but it reflects a bigger issue. Leclerc was not aligned with the pit wall's thinking. The real flashpoint came when Ferrari called him in for a pit stop, seemingly against his judgment. "Why have we boxed? Why did we box?" he demanded. The response from the team was, "We're on Plan B." Leclerc snapped back, "Yeah, but I was just telling you the tires were fine." This moment summed up Ferrari's internal breakdown. The driver was managing the tires and giving clear feedback, yet the team ignored it. That isn't just bad strategy, it's a breach of trust. In modern Formula One, pit stops aren't just about timing. They're about listening, reacting, and making sure the driver and the pit wall are completely aligned. In this case, they weren't. After the race, Vasseur did something rare for a team principal under pressure. He told the truth. Speaking to Sky Sports F1, he openly admitted that the weekend was full of errors. From Leclerc's crash in FP1, to the miscommunication in qualifying to the failed strategy on race day, he described it as too much for one weekend. But what stood out even more was his explanation of Ferrari's tire strategy. When asked why the team made certain calls, Vasseur said, "Maybe a one-stop strategy could have worked, but we didn't know the possible lifespan of the medium tires." Let that sink in. Ferrari, with all its resources, entered a race weekend without knowing how long their tires could last. That's not just a small oversight, it's a glaring operational failure. It means the team was guessing in the middle of a Grand Prix with two of the best drivers in the world behind the wheel. Vasseur tried to soften the impact by saying that updates are coming and that the team needs to stay calm, but the truth had already been laid bare. When he said, "We didn't do a clean job this weekend," It was a direct confirmation of what the drivers had been expressing all race. Hamilton and Leclerc weren't being emotional, they were responding to a system that had failed them. The bigger picture here is deeply worrying for Ferrari. Trust between drivers and the pit wall is essential for success. When that trust is broken, even the best strategies and upgrades can't fix the underlying problem. Hamilton's messages weren't just about car issues, they were about communication failures. Leclerc's complaints weren't just about tire wear, they were about not being heard. And now, with Vasseur admitting to the failures publicly, the entire Formula One world knows just how fragile the situation at Ferrari has become. The next race won't just be about performance, it'll be a test of unity, of recovery, and of whether Ferrari can still function as a top team. For Hamilton, this situation is particularly painful. He joined Ferrari with the goal of winning an 8th world title, trusting that the team could give him the tools and support he needed. But instead, he's found himself in a storm of miscommunication, poor decision-making, and an unstable working environment. The Canadian Grand Prix showed that Hamilton is still driving at a high level, but the car and the team around him are not. Leclerc, meanwhile, is facing a different kind of pressure. As the Ferrari homegrown talent, he's expected to lead the team into the future. But every mistake, every failed strategy call, chips away at his belief that this team can deliver. His frustration over the radio wasn't just about tires, it was about watching another race slip away because of decisions he didn't agree with. Vasseur's admission, while commendable in its honesty, also raises more questions. How could such fundamental issues still exist at Ferrari this deep into the season? Why are the drivers not being listened to? And how can a team of this stature not know basic data like tire life during a race? The answers to these questions will define Ferrari's season. If they can fix the communication issues, align strategy with driver input, and get the basics right, they still have a chance to compete. But if the dysfunction continues, it won't matter how fast the car is. The internal cracks will only grow. The Canadian Grand Prix wasn't just a bad weekend, it was a turning point. It showed us that Ferrari's problems are not just technical, they're cultural. A top team can't operate like this. They can't have drivers questioning every call, they can't afford radio messages that go viral for all the wrong reasons. They can't continue to lose races from inside the garage. And now, the world is watching. Every move Ferrari makes from here on will be under intense scrutiny. Vasseur's words have pulled back the curtain, and the image is not pretty. There is frustration, there is confusion, and most dangerously, there is doubt. Can Ferrari recover? Of course, they can. But it won't happen through PR spin or vague promises. It will take clear leadership, real accountability, and a renewed focus on getting the fundamentals right, because if they don't act now, the partnership they dreamed of, Hamilton and Leclerc fighting for championships in red, could become one of the biggest missed opportunities in the history of Formula One. Ferrari has the drivers, they even have the car, at least in raw performance, but without trust, without communication, and without clarity, none of that matters. Vasseur has acknowledged the storm. Now, we wait to see if he can lead his team through it before it's too late.